Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the NAU Sports Show. I am your host, Casey Everett. I hope all of you are doing fantastic and have had a wonderful week. Whether you are watching me live or on replay, it means a lot. Thank you very much. You know, the spring was really enjoyable. It really was. We were able to see just about everything that would normally be in fall. And what's awesome about playing in spring, at least for this year, is we don't have a lot of time in between seasons. So we get more packed into one, which I really like. So let's talk about the next sport. So far, we've talked football with Coach Chris Ball. We talked basketball with Coach Shane Burkar. So what's next? Volleyball with Coach Ken Murphy. Let's bring in the head coach now. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
Good. Thank you so much for coming in. I'm going to do one of these right here, and we're good to go. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It means a lot. I've had you on the show once before when I was all audio, but now we're kind of doing both audio and visual, and I'm really liking it. So tell me something. How do you think spring season went? Did you guys learn a lot? Do you think that overall the team kind of got closer? I know that it's really different not playing with fans. So in that aspect, did the team itself kind of get closer, learning how to get motivation off each other?
Maybe a little bit. I think to your point, it was weird playing without fans, and I don't think we'd like to do that very many more times. Honestly, like we like it, even on the road. When we have opposing fans, like we like being in that environment. I think at the core level, though, you kind of hope that your team gets motivated just because they want to do well. They want to perform and kind of reach their best level, and I think we had such a young team this year that was something that we could work on from the very first day till the very last day. And I think we made a ton of progress in that way, and finding out, some of that internal motivation, that we talk about. And so, going into the future, I'm hoping that a lot of those things are just a little simpler for us when we do have some of those, other motivation factors that we didn't have this year. And, just getting back to that normal stuff, where, we were even limited a little bit in terms of just how much, team building kinds of things we were able to do. Just, we were kind of supposed to stay apart from each other a lot, and so we're looking forward to a time where we can actually do it the way we normally do it and kind of getting back to normalcy there.
Right. This spring, NAU went 6-2 at home, 3-3 away, while going 1-1 in the Big Sky. You all finished 4th in the Big Sky Conference. You were also the only team that was able to beat Weber State. That says something.
Yeah.
That says a lot. What do you think what would you say that you liked a lot from the team that you saw? And what do you think needs to be worked on to get ready for the fall?
I liked everything about this team, really. I thought they competed hard. I thought they learned every day. I thought they came to practice, in these situations where, it's not quite as much fun when you're on campus and there's not as many students around. It's not the same atmosphere as you're used to, and you're dealing with some game cancellations here and there, this kind of stuff. But this team, they came to practice every day and got better, and I said all year, like, we were such a young team, and I just liked how much enthusiasm we had and how much just determination we had to come to the gym and get better every day, and I think when I look at the fall, I see us building on that, honestly. Like, we learned a lot this year. We learned a lot. I mean, the game experience was so valuable for us. And even though it was under unusual circumstances, the game experience was so valuable. And I think our young players really matured and learned some things. They learned the things that we still got to get better at, no doubt about it. But they learned how to be in a big match and perform. And, the Weber State weekend, we were about an inch from winning both those matches, honestly. And you can learn from the good stuff like that. But just as much, there was some matches in there where, the Montana State weekend, we got a split and really didn't feel like we, lived up to our potential that second day. And we can learn from that stuff too. So, and what was great is this team took every one of those opportunities and said, I'm going to get better out of this, and so what I look at in the fall is just a team that's going to be a little more mature and a little more ready for it and a little more ready to know in 2-a-days what we need to work on, and not just the coaches knowing that stuff, but the players knowing that stuff, because they saw where we fell short of some of our goals last year, and they're determined to make sure that that we're better.
Definitely. Now, I want to talk about a few notable names that really kind of showed up this past season. Everyone did a fantastic job. But Taylor Jacobson, Heaven Harris, and Lila Hollis. What do you think when you think of those names? And who else in this last spring really stood out to you?
Well, obviously, Heaven kind of stands on her own. She's had a kind of a record-breaking career here. Just performance-wise, she's accomplished so much. And so, when I think of her, I just think about that leadership and, the impact that she's able to have on the match and all those things. With Taylor and with Lila, I see two young players who are just scratching the surface about what they're going to be capable of. They did so much for us last year in terms of learning how to be better leaders and more consistent on the court and playing really big roles in our team's success, but also players that just have a lot of career ahead of them still, and they're athletically good and they're skill-wise getting better, but they're just tough kids. They have big plans for what we're going to accomplish here at NAU, and I just saw both of them getting better and better as the season went on, and really, it's not fair because we have such a good balanced team, but I actually look at that freshman class, and the names I'd add into that, are like Emilio Ketter, who played libero for us last year, just stepped on the court, true freshman, big role, played at a good level, kind of in a smaller town before, but like just learned how to play at our level really fast within a few weeks, and Jordan Elders, Savannah Bloom, our middle blockers, and they're competing with some sophomores like Nisha Newton, but I felt like and our setter, Kate Hatch, all these freshmen came in and they just probably early in the season, they looked a little bit more like freshmen, but by the end, they just looked like veterans, and all of those kids have a lot of career ahead of them. And so when I look at our team, there's some standouts. Like Taylor obviously is so standout already early in her career and been all conference, all those kind of things. And Lila had a great first year, but I look at that whole young group and just say, man, I'm just so excited about it and how much better we're going to keep getting better.
Speaking about getting better, who is coming on the team that are freshmen?
Yeah. So, I mean, like the announced kids that we've talked about. That's what you're saying, like the signed kids.
Yes, sir.
Well, I think we have a really good freshman class. Casey, she's an outside hitter from New Mexico. Just physical, 6'2", outside hitter type, can pass the ball already. I think, she's been missing a little bit of volleyball lately. She had a surgery in her junior year, and just didn't have a club season at the end of last year, that kind of stuff. But I think down the road, I think physically, she's as good as you're going to find in the country, honestly. And I feel like she's going to add some things to us at some point. It's Casey Moore and Sophia Wadsworth. She's a right side kind of a player, really athletic. I think she could play right away for us. We're kind of hoping we have a little bit of depth. We might be able to redshirt her, but we'll see. I think she plays for a great club team in Phoenix, really experienced, and the kind of player, kind of like Casey, just as good as she is right now, what you look at as just a player who's just going to be so much better in a good strength program and in a gym playing at a little bit higher level and those kind of things. And just the future's good. And then Jordan Chernis, he's an outside hitter, but she'll play kind of a DS libero kind of a position for us. And she's one of these kids that she's been playing since she was born, basically. Her mom's a coach and been playing at a really high level in California for her whole life, basically. And has all these intangibles, leadership, and just like anticipates the game, at a level that you just don't see in a lot of players. And so they're all three different players, but all three, I just feel like we just keep getting better and keep adding to, some of the great athletes we have in our gym, and excited about all of them.
Good. And no players are leaving the team from spring to fall, right?
Right, exactly.
Good. Now, something that I have always loved with all the sports is, yes, I absolutely love conference play, just to always get those rivalries going. But something that I've always enjoyed watching is the out-of-conference games. I know last year, due to COVID, the seasons was completely canceled. That's why we played in the spring. However, when we did play in the spring, we didn't have an out-of-conference slate. So with that said, is NAU, for the most part, keeping the same kind of out-of-conference slate that they were supposed to play last year? Are they just moving it to this year? Anything that you can say about that?
We're still putting some of that together. Some of it will be similar, though, and you can kind of piece some of that together. We've been trying to do home and home every other year with ASU, and keep that going in the future, we hope. And I think that's a good in-state matchup for us. And obviously, we had LSU here at home 2 years ago now, but we owe them a trip here. And some of the details are still being put together. All I can tell you, like right now, is it's tough. It's probably the toughest non-conference we've ever had since I've been here. This team needs to be pushed like that. We need to know the level of some of these teams. I think when it's all said and done, I think we'll probably have 2 top 25 teams, probably at least 3, maybe 4 more teams in the top 50. So 6 total, maybe matches out of our 12 non-conference, we'll be at that level. And we may not have a match on our schedule lower than like 150 in the country. And I want our team to experience that level, and I want them to put themselves in that same place. And win or lose, I want us to know, where we're at, and like I said, I think this is probably going to be the toughest non-conference we've had since I've been at NAU, which says a lot because we've scheduled pretty hard in the past. But I think this team wants that. I think they're hungry for that kind of level, and I think it'll be exciting to see.
It definitely will. Now, one last thing that I want to touch base on. Recently, I want to say recently, it's been now about 2 months, NAU and University of Arizona recently just signed a contract where the two teams will play together in virtually almost all sports that they play. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I like it. I think it's great, and I think if we can get, U of A up in our gym, I think that'd be a great thing for our fans to see. And they're good, obviously. I mean, they've got a really strong, historically good program. And I think it'd be a great match to have, enroll, against them. And volleyball scheduling is a little tricky. It's just we schedule tournaments, not just individual matches, so it's a little bit tougher to coordinate those things. And there's a chance that we might have to switch that one for what we're doing with ASU at some point after our contracts kind of run out, And but we've been talking to them about it. I think it's something we want to get going and be on the same page as the rest of the teams, at NAU and U of A. And we're excited about getting that going, but it might just take a little bit of work to kind of maybe a year or two to kind of get that lined up in terms of volleyball scheduling just being so unique.
Definitely. Well, that's really it from me. I want to thank you so much for coming on. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Before I let you go, is there anything that you would love to say?
Just, for people who follow our program, we can't wait to, play these matches in front of you again and kind of do this in a normal way. This is, I've been excited about a lot of the teams we've had at NAU over the years. And this one I hold, at least as high as any of those. I feel like we have such good kids and such great potential. And they're such a good group to coach. They're just fun, but they're the kind of team you want to watch. They just play hard and make you proud, And I think this is the kind of team that, we need our fans to be out there to see us again so that they can enjoy them and get to know them. NAU athletics has this top to bottom anyways, but these are the kind of kids you want to kind of know anyways. They're just good kids. They do the right stuff. They go to school and they make good social choices and they represent us so well. And we just can't wait to get our relationships back to form the way they normally are with our group and kind of back to normal again.
If fans and followers of NAU want to follow you on social media, how do they find you?
Yeah, the best one is at NAU Volleyball, and that's Twitter and Facebook, and I think Instagram is the same handle as well. We put a lot of stuff on there. There's a lot of updates on there. And we have the best of the business. We got Stacy and Sobe, pumping out our information and helping us out. And so I think you can learn a lot more about our team in depth. You can learn a lot more about just, what's happening in our locker room, just the progress of the team, all that kind of stuff. And kind of hit the ground running once we play in front of them again in the fall here.
Sounds good, Coach. Well, thank you again for coming on. Go ahead and stay here. I'm just going to remove you for a second, and then I'll bring you back on when we're done, okay?
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I hope your next week is great. I don't know who I'm going to have on next week. It'll be a surprise. It really will. I hope all of you, once again, have a great night. Thank you for watching. Now, always remember, never forget, root NAU. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.